This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 703 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from episode 219 of the Eventing Radio Show, as host Samantha Clark is joined by eventer Lainey Ashker and Allison Stackpole, who owns Maggie, an off-the-track thoroughbred. In this installment, bending, forwardness, and positive reinforcement are all covered, and homework is assigned. But first, let's hear from our sponsor, Kentucky Performance Products, maker of Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes. How is Summer Games different from other electrolyte products? Summer Games Plus contains the same electrolyte formulation as Summer Games Electrolyte, which was originally formulated for the horses competing at the 1996 Olympics. The formulation was based on the results of research conducted in anticipation of the Games, which were held in Atlanta, Georgia, known for its hot, humid summers. Summer Games mimics the composition of equine sweat, supplying the horse with the exact amounts and ratios of electrolytes relinquished in sweat. Summer Games Plus contains no sugar, like many popular commercial electrolyte supplements. Summer Games Plus also contains a buffering agent that helps create a soothing gastric environment. This is especially important for horses subjected to the stresses often related to top performance, such as exertion, transportation, and unfamiliar stabling atmospheres. Ask for Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes at your local tack and feed supplier, or visit kppusa.com. Now, on with today's tip.
Alison, welcome back to the show, and thanks for joining us again. And how on earth is Maggie?
She is doing very well. For the most part, things are going well for us.
I did see tweets about saddles being repaired and something about water jumps, or was that a puddle?
Well, my saddle fitter got hurt, so he had my saddle there for 2 weeks. So it was a little while before I could actually get on and ride her. So at this point, I've only ridden her about 5 times, but she's been doing well.
Okay, you know that Lainey and I are just discussing the bareback show jumping, so you might not get too much sympathy from Lainey, but I'm going to let Lainey take over a little bit and give you advice and ask you questions, so go ahead.
Okay.
Lainey.
So explain to me how the first couple rides have been. What have you been working on? How has she responded?
They've been very good. The first ride, I just jumped into a lesson that my trainer was teaching, and she was able to keep up with what everybody was doing. We walk trotted. By the end of that lesson, she was, she'd set up a couple of little, trotting poles, just single poles, and we were walking and trotting over them. And since then, I've taken her on a couple of shorter trails, and she's done well. Actually, yesterday, I took her through water for the first time.
Oh, fantastic.
I had to get off, and, I wasn't sure we were going to make it through. We stood there for a while with me pulling on her, but we made it through, and then we actually had to go up on the trail and turn around and come back through a second time, and the second time she was a lot better about it.
Perfect.
So, and we've done walk, trot, canter in the ring. She's doing very well.
And tell me this: has it been easy to pick up your right lead and your left lead?
I've only cantered her once. We went, a couple times. I think it was a couple times to the right, and one time she got the wrong lead, one time she got the right lead, and then we went to the left one time and she got the wrong lead.
Okay. Because what Mom and I have both found is a lot of horses are one-sided, but normally because they're not used to just going up and picking the right lead can be a little bit harder initially to pick up. You'll find that they're a little bit stiffer to the right, which actually the right lead canter actually is better because it's more stacked up. They're not used to going that way, and they don't overbend that way, so they're not obviously throwing the shoulder to the outside. So that's something that you might. And again, I might be wrong. She might be picking up perfectly, but if that's something to suspect that, if she gets there's a little confusion between picking up the right and left lead, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
and then go ahead.
Sorry, we found that like the second time that I picked up the right lead canter, I bended her more to the outside, and that got the correct lead. And
Perfect.
I wasn't able to get her to bend that well going to the left. So, but I think if I play with it a little bit more, we might be able to work on getting the correct lead.
Well, sure, and the more she understands what the leg is, the more bend you'll be able to ask. That you'll be able to ask her to do leg yields and whatnot. I mean, so that's fantastic. And the speed and how fast you want the trot to go and how slow you want the trot to go. They're all little stepping stones and more collection, and that's exactly how you get to that. That's perfect.
And are there any particular exercises that you use to help do that, Lainey?
Well, my mom does. When she's done with doing a lot of the trail riding, we do a lot of lunge work, and then, we spiral the circle in, spiral the circle out. I mean, sure, they're not going to know what a leg yield is, but it's never too soon to teach them that. It's all, doesn't mean it has to be a perfect leg yield with the horse being bent on the bit, but you can start, bringing the circle a little bit smaller and teaching them a leg yield by leg yielding the circle out, and a lot of guidance with the outside rein. Never make sure you're not crossing over their withers, but using the rein as a guiding thing, a lot of opening of the reins, wider hands, so as to funnel the horse to be a bit straighter. And again, lots of serpentines, lots of changes in direction, because that's the best way you're going to teach them how to learn what exactly the leg is and the different mechanisms and uses of the leg.
Yeah, and I've been doing serpentines and figure eights and stuff at the walk mostly. Just, she's not great at bending, so I've been working on that at the walk and, asking her a little bit at the trot, and she's not quite getting it at the trot yet.
And
yeah, and you might... Go ahead.
How is her temperament, Alison? Is she handling all the work pretty well, and do you still love her?
Oh yeah, she's definitely great. I think she tries really hard. She hasn't done anything bad to me. She's very sweet. I enjoy, and she's got nice gaits. I enjoy riding her, so it's going well. Yeah.
And I wouldn't, I wouldn't be so hemmed up on the whole on having a true bend. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would work on riding her forward and straight as opposed to really working on a true bend, because the bend is going to come after she knows what the leg is. So I'd work on a lot of forward and back, and make her, really encourage her to do a 4-loop serpentine, even if she's completely bent to the outside. The only way she's going to learn is by forcing yourself to make yourself ask her to do it, if that makes any sense.
Right. And that is the one thing. I feel like she understands slowing down and stopping more than she understands forward. I don't think she totally gets what my leg is for. I mean, I'm feeling like she's getting it a little bit more, but she still doesn't quite understand.
And are you riding her in a loose ring snaffle?
Yeah.
Oh, that a girl. Perfect. Very good.
Alison, you're making it quite easy for us. You're doing everything right. Alison, what have you got planned for the next sort of month or so? And Lainey, do you have any good ideas about anything else that she should be doing? Why don't you go first, Alison?
Well, I guess the plan is just to, keep working on that and getting her to understand moving off my leg. I do have one question. One thing that's come up, the last 2 times I've ridden her, is, the lesson that I had on Saturday, probably about 30 minutes into the lesson or so, and actually it was when another horse had left the ring and gone back into the barn, and I guess Maggie decided that she was done also, and she started, kind of bulging out, and I think she was trying to bulge herself all the way back to the barn. So I was really, trying to get her back into the ring, and then she would just stop. And, I was kicking and kicking and kicking, and she just wouldn't go. And it took a lot of effort to get her back into the ring and to do something before I took her back to the barn. And then when I rode her on Sunday, it was a little bit of the same, that she, when we would get close to that side of the ring, heading towards the barn, she'd try to bulge out and head back to the barn.
Mm-hmm. So what I would do is, again, that's another kind of, that sounds really naughty of her. A little piggish. A lot of neck reining too. And I would set her up for success by, I would work her when, the next couple of days, maybe work her when, nobody's going to be in the ring, or when, somebody's going to be in the ring and you're going to be, and they come in after you kind of thing. Set her up for success. And lots of forward work. I would do a lot of your initial work. Even if you started, I know Karen O'Connor likes to work a lot on warming up in the canter first, and then she comes down because the canter is the best way to improve the trot. So kind of getting her initially really, really forward, and whenever she is good, I can't stress enough, really praising her when she is good. So as soon as she goes by that end of the arena before bolting, one time, really good girl, give her a pet, good girl, and then same. In the same token, if she's naughty, nipping it in the butt right away. Be sterner, giving her a kick, but as soon as she reacts in any sort of positive way to that leg, really rewarding her, with a pat or with your voice. And again, if she's getting really sticky, go ahead.
We had wondered if maybe, the first couple of rides that I was, praising her so much when she, slowed down and halted, that she started to understand, a pat and good girl as a cue to stop.
And that could very well be, sure. And a lot of horses you'll find, it's funny, everybody thinks the track horses are these crazy horses, and they can be, but a lot of times their nerves don't come out from being wild and running away with you. It comes from stopping. They kind of shut down. And when that happens, my mom likes to say that kind of you unstick them kind of thing. You kind of turn them a different way, or whatever you can do to get them forward thinking, let go of the reins. And as soon as there is a forward movement, good girl, give her a pat. But I would stress, I like how you finished on a good note. You made her go somewhere before finishing up. That was great. But maybe the next time you maybe take her out on a trail ride. Anything that makes her go more forward. Right? Because that's all that is an evasion from the leg. And that's her way of reacting. And that's her nerves coming out. It's her being nervous and kind of just shutting down, saying, nope, can't do it. I'm shutting down now. Right? And so the best way to kind of beat that battle is by doing exactly what you're doing, rewarding her the second she moves off your leg, getting her out on trail rides, anything to encourage her to be a little bit forward. Because to me, from what I hear from you, it sounds like she's going to be one. Going to be one that's going to be a little bit evasive of the leg by going slower. That's her defense mechanism, is to stop. So, and again, that, to me, for an amateur that's starting off with a horse, that's probably the best bad fault to have than one that wants to take off with you and run away with you.
Right. Yeah.
Also, do you have access to a round pen at all?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you have access to a round pen at all?
No, I don't.
Because lunging. Okay, good. So lunging is another great thing. And it might help if you have someone lunge you on her. So if she's turning out on the lunge line at all and you ride her, that's another great way to teach her to lunge better. Is giving yourself the good old lunge lesson. That's going back to the basics.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Lots to work on.
lots of homework.
Well, thank you both so much again for joining us. I'm really enjoying listening to all this and learning as I'm listening. And Alison, it sounds like you have your work cut out for you over the next month or so. And I hope you'll come back and join us and give us another progress report.
Definitely.
And Alison, I don't know if there's any cross-country schooling days, getting her off the property. Those are going to be things that are going to get her more forward thinking. So right now, for this next month, if I were you, I would work on your job is getting her forward. But you have to tell me, oh, geez, I got to slow her down, because then you'll be able to start to really work on that stuff. Right. Let's really nip that kind of bad habit in the bud, and get her kind of more forward thinking, so that when you put a leg on, she's like, yes, ma'am. So that's to me, that would be your homework for the next month.
Well, there you go. For more tips on training or retraining your horse, go to horsetipdaily.com and look for the topics drop-down menu on the left. You can listen to every episode of the Eventing Radio Show at eventingradio.com. Don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily because they make these podcasts possible. Today's sponsor has been Kentucky Performance Products, makers of Summer Games and Summer Games Plus electrolytes. Ask for Summer Games and Summer Games Plus by name at your local tack and feed supplier, or you can purchase online at kppusa.com. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover on the show. You can subscribe to all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. You can also listen to the shows right on Facebook. The player's right there every day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.